Yeah, it's September 3rd, 2025. We're underway just past the east end of Greening Island. Forecast for today is such that we almost didn't come because they were calling for calm winds 5 knots or less. Well, it might be a little more than 5 knots because we're making 5.9 to 6 knots on a close reach. So yeah, we're looking north from out here in the Great Harbor of Mount Desert Island. Over there is the shore of Northeast Harbor, and in a little bit we will sail relatively close to Bear Island and get a look into the actual harbor of Northeast Harbor. Well, in addition to the no wind forecast, this morning it was also fogged in out here. When I looked at the camera at the marina the first time, I could just barely see the boats, but the fog lifted out by about 11, and since then it hasn't been so bad. As you can see, it cleared out nicely. You can still see the fog bank out there past Little Cranberry Island. So we're not going to go out real far because we might sail into fog. Well, it turned into a nice day, as I was saying, but not many people are out for leisure sailing today. Over there is the day charter boat Linda, which sails out of Northeast Harbor. He's got a load of paying passengers. And up ahead, I don't know if you can got to stand up. Up ahead is the schooner Ambergris, which is also a day charter boat. And we were just ahead of the friendship sloop Alice on the way out. And I think that's him way back there. He must have taken his time putting the sails up. So, not too many boats out for a sail today on a Wednesday afternoon. That is the west end of Sutton Island. Okay, over there you can see into Northeast Harbor. Still quite a few boats over there. Over the next couple of weeks though, that's gonna thin out dramatically. It is September and it feels like fall today. It's cool and it's nice steady wind. So, you know, it feels like fall sailing is here, which is usually pretty much the best sailing of the year. We have good wind in May and early June, but the water is still really cold then. You know, down around 40 degrees, and it means that anytime you get out where the wind is off the water, it's cold. Here, anytime you get out where the wind is off the water this time of year, it's still comfortable. Might be a little chilly, but just a light jacket is all you're gonna need. And right over there is Bear Island Light. Another view into Northeast Harbor. Northeast Harbor is the primary destination for visiting boaters, in that there are lots of rental moorings over there. I don't know what they're charging this year, but I imagine like everybody else it's gone up. But it's because of all the rental moorings, it's a popular place to come and visit by boat. And also it's a pretty short ride on the Island Explorer bus into the main part of Acadia National Park. You can do the same thing over in Southwest Harbor, but there aren't as many rental moorings, and it's a considerably longer bus ride. Well, we're pretty much at our closest approach to Bear Island right now and its lighthouse, And once again, I will let you know that most of the island belongs to Acadia National Park, but the lighthouse and the land it's on are leased out on a long-term lease. The people who lease the lighthouse are responsible for its maintenance. And as a result of that, although what we're looking at is Acadia National Park, the island is not open to the public because of the lease of a significant fraction of the island to the people who are leasing the lighthouse. So yeah, you can look, but you can't go over there. Okay, we're sailing on the north side of Sutton Island, which is what we're looking at right now. And it's much rockier on this side than it is on the south side. And over here, we've got some of the big hills of Mount Desert Island. A Hinckley jet boat underway, and the cottages of Seal Harbor. As we look east, I can see the Schoodic Peninsula over there. It's a little bit hazy, but I think what it's saying to me is that the fog has lifted out at least 6 or 7 miles. And you can see some of the cottages on this side of Sutton are a little bit on the bigger side, and at least they're bigger than the ones on the other side of the island. Okay. Well, we've sailed past Sutton Island now, and there's a view into Seal Harbor. And you can see all the summer cottages up on the hillside. And lots of boats still on moorings over there. Yeah. Now there's East Bunker Ledge with a little bit of surf breaking on it. It's just about low tide right now, so the ledge looks a lot bigger than it does at high tide. And the Schoodic Peninsula in the distance, still a little hazy over there. And we're heading out past Little Cranberry right now. I'm not sure how far we're going to go. The offshore buoys were only showing 7 knots or so, so we don't want to get out too far, or we could basically end up in almost no wind. And maybe the forecast will be right, since it was for 5 knots or less today. That's not what it is here, but who knows? You get out 4 or 5 miles past the islands, that's what it might be doing. Here's the schooner Ambergris on their way back in, and she's actually heeled a little bit, which you don't see often. And behind Ambergris is Baker Island. And that's Little Cranberry now, behind Ambergris. There is a bit of a swell out here today. It's long period, but it's 3 or 4 feet. You can feel it. Well, I can feel it as we go up and down over the swell. Yeah, right now we're sailing into about a 3 to 4 foot swell. It's long period though. We go up and down. And that's Baker Island. We're headed sort of southeast at present. And over there on the southern tip of Little Cranberry, you can just see the old life-saving station coming into view with its tower. That is actually a private home now. So we're going to tack around pretty soon, because We have two choices from out here. We can tack around and sail back in to the north of the Cranberries, or we can go out past Baker Island, about another couple miles here, and tack and sail back over to the Western Way and back into the Great Harbor and Southwest Harbor that way. That is, from here, probably about a 4 or 5 mile longer sail, and depending on what the wind does, it could be a very long sail or a motor run. The turnaround point is about 7.5 to 8 miles from Southwest Harbor, and it's about halfway in the loop. So I think we probably won't do that today, because that, from here, if conditions continued as they are, that have us getting back around 5 o'clock. And as we can see, Baker Island. There is a lighthouse on Baker Island, but the trees have grown up to the point that it's completely obscured from most directions. Okay, we tacked around. There's Baker Island off the port beam now, and Sutton Island and Little Cranberry ahead. So we're headed in, and I'm hoping the wind will let us sail between the two islands, and we'll go back in on the south side of Sutton. So although we're not going to go around all of the Cranberries, we will at least have gone around Sutton Island today. And there's a nice scenic view of Mount Desert Island from a couple miles offshore to the south of the island. Well, we made it back in between the Cranberries and Sutton. That's Sutton Island, east end of it there. And right behind us over there is Little Cranberry. And there's a schooner anchored in Little Cranberry Harbor. They have their mizzen sail up. I don't know if they left that up just to set the boat into the wind, or if they're getting ready to get underway. That looks like one of the passenger schooners that sails out of Rockland or Camden. Can't tell which one from here. Okay, we're sailing past the Sperling Rock Bell, which is between Great Cranberry, which you can see here, and Sutton Island. So, yeah. And this one is an actual bell buoy. You can see the bell in there with the knockers that swing back and forth and hit the bell. Now we're just about past Sutton Island as we head back into the Great Harbor of Mount Desert Island between the Cranberries and Mount Desert Island. And on the other side, Great Cranberry Island. And the wind is less than it was when we came out. It's still blowing a lot more than the 5 knots or less that was forecast. So we're doing okay. We're headed back in now. It's going to be about a 10-mile sail today. Well, I may have turned around at just about the right time. We're looking south out the Western Way between Mount Desert Island and Great Cranberry, and there is definitely less wind here than there was further east. So yeah, because back there we were making the better part of 6 knots, and now we're under 4. So very definitely less wind. So maybe the forecast was right just for later in the afternoon. And look over toward Northeast Harbor, Bear Island, and the hills of Mount Desert Island. Yeah, we're coming back into Southwest Harbor, and we will furl the sails up and just outside the mooring field and motor back in from there. And the wind has definitely dropped off from when we went out. On the way out, we were close to 6 knots in here, and now we're down to 3.9. So, yep. Well, we're going to do something a little different today. We're going to go over on the north side of Clark Point and drop sails over there and motor back. You can see a few boats moored over there. The big one is the Rebecca that we saw out sailing on our last sail. Now there's the friendship sloop Alice E, just past our bow, and the schooner Ambergris is going to go in front of us in just a few seconds. Here it comes. Alice E is about 33 feet, and Ambergris is 60 feet on deck. There we go. And they're both heading over to tack near the day mark, which is that pole with the green mark on it. Not a place you want to go real close to, because that is attached to the bottom, so it's pretty shallow over there. Okay, we're over on the north side of Clark Point. That's a Grand Banks 46 Europa. And some of the summer cottages over here. And in just a little bit, we're going to start the engine, furl the sails, and head back into the main part of Southwest Harbor, which is just on the other side of this point, or on this sort of east side of Clark Point, and we're going to, or northeast side, and we're going to head into the main harbor. Well, we're back in the harbor. Had no problem getting in, came in just fine. And overall we had a pretty good sail today. The wind did die off a little bit on the last mile or two, but going over to the east side of Clark Point worked out very well for dropping the sail. There's lots of room over there, and the little less wind with this particular wind direction, because the point blocked it a little bit, made it easy to drop the mizzen. Easier than just sitting out in open water by the mooring field anyway. So that's September 3rd, sailing the great harbor of Mount Desert Island. Hope you found the scenery worth looking at. Thanks for watching.